You know, I've been enjoying as much as anybody pardon me while I tie my shoe, the armchair quarterbacking, the backseat driving, the armchair generals, the backseat generals. Is that a thing? It sounds like a dirty story, but as much as the next person, I really have. But a lot of them are amateurs at it. Even you know what I mean. Your rando pundit class trying to make their bones. Yes, basement generals. Yes, the Cheeto Brigade. But there's a lot of folks out there that think sure they know better than the people who are in charge and stuff, but none of them were on the inside. The way this fellow was. I don't know what happened. Don Jr. has been shooting he shot 6 videos in the last day. He is so excited to be able to go after Biden for, quite frankly, an obviously good choice to get the fuck out of Afghanistan. I stand by that. If you want a varying version of a false reality wherein someone tells you something different, there are plenty of other places. Dare I say, nearly all of them will tell you, but it could have been done so much better if we'd adjust, which is exactly what's been said for the last decade. Also, we will look a little bit today at one of this guy's foot soldiers, because the guy who, for those of you who don't know, there was a bomb scare on the in front of the Library of Congress because this asshole said he thought it was one of the capitals. We'll see some of that live stream in a little bit. And the last thing that the would-be bomber, who ended up crawling out of his truck and surrendering before his psych eval, and they look at his ass for drugs and put him away. The last thing he did was share a Don Jr. video before he went live, presumably with a truck bomb in front of a federal building. Last thing he did, but don't draw any conclusions. He heard this guy. Honestly, there is no situation in life where if you follow Don Jr., you won't end up crawling across asphalt as officers yell at you and then getting a psych eval and someone looking in your ass. That's how your day's going to go if you follow Don Jr. Mark my words. So, on a lot of fronts, everybody thinks they know a lot of somethings. Hold on. Why is my other light not on? One second. I don't know what happened with my lights, so I'm fixing them real quick because it's going to drive me nuts. Because, see, that cutout disappeared. Hey, that's much better. And then, for some reason, these guys are not all on. It's very strange. I've got these 2 side lights, and neither one of them. I don't get it. What's happened? I'll bring this one up, and that'll give me a little more light, because I don't have the side ones. I don't know what's going on. They just decided to disappear from Wi-Fi. It just happens. Sometimes lights just don't feel like working. That's all right. So, hype trains already happened on Twitch, and I thank you, and I want to welcome everybody, and thank you for joining me today, and thank you for subscribing. Subscribe and subscribe. Please subscribe. Please subscribe. Subscribe. You should subscribe. You should subscribe right now. Stop waiting. Just subscribe. There's no harm in it. You don't have to turn on notifications. I'm not one of those assholes. If you want to find it, you'll find it, but at least it'll show up in your regular feed if you subscribe. Otherwise, you have to go look for it every time, and that's a waste of both our times. Honestly, it should be readily available for you, and you can just swipe it out of the way. It's never been easier. Just subscribe. Just do it. It took us forever to clear 20,000 subscribers. We have cleared 21,000 in a week. So clearly, some of you are subscribing, some of you aren't, and I would like you to. I got 150,000 people on Twitter. I can't get 2/3 of them to pop over to YouTube and pretend they use the site and just subscribe. Is it too much to ask? I don't think so. So, anyways, I don't know that we're going to hear anything new out of Don Jr. I just don't know why he looks like he's withered in the last 3 days. Honestly, something happened. Is this what a binge looks like? I've never done drugs, so if you do them for 3 days straight, do you get this skinny this fast?
Okay, guys, so you want to be infuriated today?
Okay, guys.
Apparently, British and French...
Dude, look at him reading again. You want to be infuriated? I'm so emotionally invested in this. I care more about this. You guys, you want to know what is really going on? It's, what did I write down? But, this is happening. I'm so mad about this. It's a part of me. Jesus Christ. Lazy.
Special forces units are making gun runs through Kabul to rescue and evacuate their trapped citizens, while our senior Pentagon's officials say we lack the capability to do so. They're going to keep making efforts.
We're going to get everyone else we can possibly evacuate, and I'll do that as long as possible until the clock runs out or we run out of capability. Oh, so we have not run out of capability. See, I would have read that differently, but thanks for the translation, dum-dum.
Until they run out of the clock or they lose.
Yeah, they run out of the clock. I always run out of the clock. At the end of the month, I always have, I'm always looking for more clock at the end of my month.
Their capabilities. The British and the French have special forces units going door to door trying to rescue their people.
Because they're going to bring them to the airport where we are going to fly them out. Also, if American forces go door to door, certain Taliban targets might try to take cheap shots at them. So I would rather them go, because they're not the ones flying people out. We are. We're organizing the whole fucking thing.
Because that's what you do if you're
No, that's what... Oh, you wouldn't do that.
Country like America. If you're a country like Britain or France. But America is not doing that.
Well, no, we're flying everyone out. We're running C-16s out of the country every hour.
Generals could not possibly foresee how this could have happened because they only had 20 years to get an exit right.
Well, your dad had 4 fucking years. Why did he pass? What changed? What was different this year than last year? Or the year before, or the year before that? Keep in mind, dum-dum, that every time you say they had 20 years to get it right, your dad owns 4 of those. And he did fuck all.
But they had no interest in exiting because they all wanted to get board seats at Raytheon, so we keep the forever wars going.
No, we don't. Joe Biden has ended the forever war that your dad ran on running, or ran on stopping, and could not, did not, would not.
That's why morons like Joe Biden have kept us in these never-ending battles.
Asshole, he's getting us out right now. Like, honest to God. Is there a dum-dum meter that this asshole tries to peg every day?
And wars, okay? But we
what?
Don't lack the capability. What we lack is the will.
The will? We're leaving! Your dad lacked the will.
We lack...
And the brains. And apparently the ability to read, which you apparently, thank God, you've, I guess, does it skip a generation? I hope not.
The will
for your kids' sake.
To do what's right for American citizens.
We are doing what's right for American citizens. We're getting the fuck out.
The woke generals, they lack it.
The woke generals. That's what they... Yeah, we woke them up and told them time to pack their shit.
Our Democrats, they lack it, and they're used to the media running total cover for them, so they're not used to being called out for incompetence. But this is over the last 48 hours. The elite tactical unit of the French police, I guess the acronym is RAID, have, I quote, have made multiple trips into Kabul to rescue people sheltering in the French embassy.
Well, yeah, it's the French embassy. We're flying helicopters full of people out, and we're guiding them out for ourselves. Oh, Nika Kringles, thank you so much.
So far, they've taken 216 French and foreign nationals to secure areas.
Well, oh my God, 216? Oh heavens! If only we could get those kind of numbers.
Of Kabul airport. Okay, so
what was the French embassy? An apartment?
French are doing this. They're going in individually. Obviously, a much smaller presence across
the
board. Our guys say, you gotta make it to the airport. We can't guarantee your safety going there. The roads happen to be blocked off by the Taliban, a terrorist organization
that your dad made a deal with and freed the leader of?
Does have a social media account, unlike former President Trump. Minor.
I was curious, was that in the deal? Last year when Mullah Badahar, when your dad brought him out of a Pakistani jail flew him to, I think it was Dubai, to negotiate the deal, excluding the Afghan government, when he made the deal that would entail us leaving May 1st, with no plan, by the way, left behind by your dad. There was no visa, special immigrant visas that were processed through all of last year. Just blew it off.
Details, but they're blocked off by the Taliban, and our generals are saying, well, we'll do what we can, until we run out of time or capabilities. We still have a timeline to meet here, even if there could be up to 40,000 Americans trapped. So the entire...
Trapped? Is that your concern? 40,000 Americans trapped? Let's see. I might need to check. Hold on. Let's see. Let's just get the most up to date. I mean, obviously, he can't be expected to know everything. He blazed these rails out early this morning, I think. Let's see. American citizens, Afghanistan evacuation. That should get us some of the details. State Department. New York Times is 23 hours ago. U.S. troops will remain in Afghanistan. This would be U.S. troops will remain in Afghanistan until all American citizens are evacuated, Biden tells ABC. Taliban shifts focus to governing, but protests, empty coffers, and isolation pose challenges. Yeah, that'll be fun to watch. Pentagon leaders deflect questions on meltdown of Kabul security. They don't want to talk about that right now. They're busy getting all of the Americans out. Former Afghan President Ghani denies having fled with huge sums of cash. He turned his pockets inside out and stood on a balcony of a very nice apartment in Dubai and told us that. If there are any American citizens left, we're going to stay until we get them all out, Biden said. The United States and other countries operating evacuation flights from Afghanistan into Wednesday, though not all those seeking to leave the country were able to reach Kabul's international airport. The Taliban erected checkpoints throughout the capital and near the airport's entrance, beating some Afghans who attempted to cross and intimidating others. By the way, they're going to the civilian area, not to the American side and on the military side. In one case, a former interpreter for the Australian army was shot by a Taliban fighter as many Afghans crowded at the airport gates. I'm sure that Sky News is all over why the Australians didn't get their translator that was killed out. How long has it been since the Australians were... They didn't give this dude a special visa? Now, Sky News has been doing stuff about how, Trump's, the real leader, and he was able to, secure the country, and people were afraid of him, and he was a bold leader. But Joe Biden's got cognitive abilities. At least that's what the memo I got from Rupert Murdoch says I have to say if I want to keep my job here at Sky News, Australia. That's that. Just in case you think that says American. Days after fleeing Afghanistan, former Afghan President Ashraf Ghani surfaced in the United Arab Emirates on Wednesday. Persian Gulf's National Foreign Ministry said in a statement he denied accusations he fled the country with sums of cash, but he couldn't speak further because he was going to spill his drink. Thousands of U.S. troops have been flown to Kabul to protect evacuation efforts. Washington has moved some 5,000 people out so far, with an additional 2,000 Afghans relocated to the United States as special immigrants. About 11,000 people in Afghanistan have identified themselves as Americans, while more than 80,000 Afghans may need to be evacuated. So, 11,000 Americans, and then possibly more than 80,000. And I don't know where they get that number. We'll see. Taliban assault imperils slow-building U.S. effort to rescue Afghan allies. That is money. The rapid collapse of security in Afghanistan has turned a slow-building U.S. effort to rescue men and women who have assisted the United States into a full-blown humanitarian crisis. Tens of thousands of people still seeking refuge and potentially little time to relocate them. But this would be hold on, this guy. Just so you know.
My dad could have gotten us out, but he didn't.
The entire Biden administration needs to resign immediately. And
No.
imagine if it was Trump.
I can't. You know why? Because he had every chance and he didn't. I have a great imagination. But it is fucking impossible for me to imagine your dad actually following through with removing all the troops from Afghanistan. He got the number down by 5,000 because Biden brought that number up, and during the summer, during the campaigns, and he got him out right before the election with the idea that he was going to put him back, but then he lost and he stopped giving a shit.
Imagine what they'd be doing. Imagine if he wasn't taking questions from the press, but of course he always took questions from the press. And the press towards Trump was actually hostile. They weren't their marketing arm like they are for Joe Biden.
You just started this thing saying that everybody's turned on him and everybody's criticizing him.
So this is what's going on, right?
Yeah, keep reading. I have to scroll through this. Dude, this is... bullet points. That's all I'm saying. Don't actually script it.
SAS, British Special Forces, serious badasses. They're doing, quote, Dunkirk-style rescue missions to save 6,000 Brits trapped in Kabul.
So it's not a clusterfuck that the Brits are having to send in the SAS. They knew we were leaving. What does our timeline to get the fuck out have to do with their timeline to get the fuck out? If we had to send in 6,000 special forces to evacuate people from the embassy, for example, do you think these assholes would be going, bravery, it's brave?
The French and the British are acting while we sit back and we do nothing, while our allies across the world
The people that they're getting out are flying out on our planes.
watch us not only abandon them, okay, not only make it clear that we're not going to be there to protect them, but we're abandoning our own American citizens.
No, we're not.
The Brits and the French have had enough. They're taking care of business themselves while we sit on our butts and our generals worry about white rage and critical race theory.
Yeah, well, I doubt that that's informing their behavior on the ground in Afghanistan.
That's the state of the world today.
Well, if you're staring through a giant pile of crystallized cocaine, perhaps.
Hey, folks, wake up and start watching.
Wake up and start watching. I mean, you look for those. Some of us search our whole lives to find a phrase that sums up the news and perspective that we bring. Wake up and start watching. That's classy. Well done.